I'm actually really happy with the way it turned out. These cameras we are using are absolutely amazing. Notice up here, I only was able to get 57 images, which is, I would argue, not nearly enough. I got everything. I missed this little area down here, his little butt, and just kind of under his chest. I mean, ideally I would have shot at least 3 times as many images, but just didn't have time, so I got what I could. But anyway, I processed this, I aligned these, first workflow, I imported my folder with my images, then I aligned them, then I went to mesh color and I just did normal detail, which created the mesh, and then I simplified my model under tools, simplify, hit simplify, and then I unwrapped, and then I textured my model. So my final model that I decided to texture went from, so my model 4, I kind of cleaned things up, had 21 million tries, and then my simplified model has only 750,000, okay? So SketchFab generally complains, around a million. I think anywhere from 500,000 to a million is probably a pretty good SketchFab file size. If somebody wanted something lighter for a game or something, that's up to them. They could clean that up. But and so once I got this mesh down to 750,000, that's when I unwrapped it and textured it, and that's where we are. And you can see this little TX means this is the textured model. Okay, so now I'm to the point where I want to export this. You can see there are some little kind of little sketchy triangles in here. Unfortunately, this software program doesn't do a great job cleaning up edges. There's actually another program which we can discuss later called Mesh Mixer, which is better for that. It actually will give you clean edges, but that's for later time. So we have this. I'm going to export it. Okay. All right. So let's get this thing out of here. So I'm going to click on Tools. I'm going to hit Model Point Cloud. I am going to go just create a new folder. And I'm just going to call this SK5 just for my own sanity. And I'm going to go in here. So I was going to show you guys how to export this out as a GLB. If you don't know, GLB is kind of a lightweight so yeah, this is good. So known as the JPEG of 3D. So it's just a very lightweight 3D file. The only problem is, of course, Maya won't natively handle it. So you can export it like that, and you guys should be familiar with these files, and you can open them in Blender. Oh, not that. But for today, I'm just going to show you how to do this as an FBX. So let's do that. Okay, so we'll just do this as an FBX file. So I'm going to say this, and I'm going to go, and I'll just call this pig for SketchFab. Okay, so I'm going to say save. And now this option box is going to come up, and I don't know if all of this stuff is open by default. It might just be like this. So when this comes up, we're going to go through these settings. Export an info file. That's fine. This might be yes by default. Save mesh by parts, no. So we want our mesh, I mean, ideally, unless it's a really, really huge geometry file, you just want it to be one solid mesh, right? You don't want it to be like 10 different meshes together. So export mesh by parts, no. We want it to be one part. Format version, FBX. So that's what we just put in. Export vertex normals. We want this to be a yes. Okay, so you can click on these boxes and you can change them. If it's not, you may be set to no. Export vertex colors. We do want to leave this as a no. Export materials. Yes, obviously we want our materials. Texture settings. Export textures. Yes, we want them. embed textures in the model. Yes, that just makes things easier. So the model comes in with the texture embedded. We don't have to assign it later. Export the alpha. No. Export single texture file. Yes. So this is really the same thing as the save mesh by parts. We want, unless you had a really huge file where you needed 10 different textures because it just wasn't, one texture was just too thin to stretch across the whole thing, you really just want to have a single texture file. Okay. So this might be no by default, and when it's no, you lose the next option. So just put this to yes, and then we get to choose our texture size. Okay, so generally for SketchFab, I put in a 4K texture. You could try an 8K, it's probably too much. So just leave that as a 4. Use power of 2 texture size. So most people in here probably know, but we just want to leave that as yes. If you're not familiar with power of 2, that's old school game stuff. Textures function better when it's the same size squared, and they're very specific sizes. So 64 by 64, 128 by 128, 512 by 512, or sorry, 256 by 256, 512 by 512. So yeah, so 512, 1024, 2048 by 2048, and then 4K. So we're just going to leave that there. Export layer, unwrap layer. We're going to leave this on no, but the geometry layer we're going to put on yes. This could be, if you want it to be a JPEG, pick either one of these. Well, I guess the newer format. These two JPEGs are actually the same. It's just kind of old school versus new, but we'll just leave it as a PNG. And this might default to 32. I don't need 32. I'm just going to leave it at 24. Camera settings. I might have changed this. I can't remember. Maybe this was at default. It doesn't really matter. And so we're going to hit OK. So we're going to save this out. So it's going to export this for us. Generally, I bring this stuff into Maya just to double check and line things up. So let's do that. So I'm just going to drag this in my FBX file and hit import. And here's my pig. And we have our texture assigned. And it's really big. Let's see. It's really big and really dense. Maybe this should be, if we want this to be real world scale, we'll put this at a 10. And let's take a measurement. I think this guy was probably about 6 feet tall. So I'll grab a cube and we'll make our cube 6 feet tall. And we'll just do a little sanity check here on size. And so I remember there was a lady rubbing the coin on the pig. So this looks about right to me. Yeah, so something like that. Okay. So we'll say this is the correct size. And if I go to the front view, we'll just make this even with the ground. Oh, so he's backwards, so I'll fix that. I mean, this is your chance to kind of like really even him out. Nothing in life is, of course, that symmetrical, but we can try. Let's go to a top view and just take a look. Okay, so it's really crooked. And shift this over a little bit. Let me go to perspective. Oh, it doesn't help at all. Okay. All right, we're going to call that good. Something like that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to freeze transformations, and we'll just export this guy back out. File, export selection into this SK5. Whoops. And we'll just export it as an FBX file. And yep, we'll just save it just like this. Yep. My settings, I know, are correct. You just want to make sure you have embed media on. Embed media, so we have our texture. Okay. So just as a sanity check, oops, we'll drag this back in to make sure that we've exported it correctly. With our texture. Okay, great. And so let's go and we will upload this to SketchFab. And let me just go back and we'll go upload. And I'm just going to drag this in, upload files. While we're waiting on that, I just went and I looked up this statue. So if we want to, we could grab our information from here into our model. You can only put so much of this in here. I'm going to shorten a little bit of this. And categories, we can put in art and cultural history. Maybe I guess you can only do 2 of those. And add tags. We could put in photogrammetry and maybe RealityScan. I don't know, pig or boar if they have it. Florence, maybe. Florence. Okay, good enough. And we'll call this, I don't know. Let's call it this. Portofino. Oh, great, we got an error. Okay, let's just refresh this. I had this happen to me before, and it actually wasn't an error at all. So we'll try more.
15 minutes later.
So let's go to edit 3D settings. So I actually really dislike the way SketchFab, since we captured our light in our scene, we can just go in and we can actually have it shadeless, which will make it look a lot better. It's going to show our actual lighting from the day we captured, which will make it look a lot better. So we can position our model in here just like this, and we can hit Save View. So this is going to be basically what our texture looks like. I mean, when people go looking for the model, maybe we want to come a little closer, kind of get him like this. So I generally do turn on 2 of these post-processing filters. I do turn on vignette, and I do turn on sharpness. So if you look, you can actually see quite a big difference between the sharpness there. And he's looking pretty good, so we can, manipulate around this guy and orbit around him and check him out. And if you didn't know, in SketchFab, you can go in and you can inspect the model. You can see the wireframe, so it's super heavy, and you can check out these different things if you want, what this is going to look like. Yeah, and that's it. So let's save these settings. And let's go ahead and we'll publish this dude. Got it. Go see my model. Great. So, if we wanted to go in and we wanted to edit this and we wanted to change, because I don't currently have this set to download, but if you did want people to be able to download this, we can just go switch download to free and go ahead and hit save, and then they can all download my pig. Okay. All right. Hope that helps, guys.